Believe it? It's actually 7:30. So soon.
There's no way.
Not yet.
It's coming.
You can still go fishing this morning.
Yeah.
Not this afternoon. All right. Well, today we got December 15th. So sort of last meeting of the year. Can you believe that? I see people in sweaters. It's sweater weather. It's exciting.
Not really, but.
It was 50 degrees driving in this morning. It was crazy. And it smelled like we were in like Miami, you know, that humid smell. We're being recorded, so everyone just know that that's happening. We got Angie, Ann, and Bob Groening online.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Agenda, same as always, but our Rotary Minute today is going to be about the Soaker Made Coffee fundraising project. And we'll get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you repeat after me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all. If you remain standing, we'll jump over to the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Goodwill and will be beneficial to all concerned. And will it be fun? All right, you can be seated. Guests today. I mean, we've got a semi-guest with John, but John's deep in the process of becoming a member. So happy. Joanne joined us online. She just jumped back on. So thanks, Marty. And I don't see any guests online right now. So I think that that's all we've got. We've got a minute from Herb. It's going to be a little bit longer than a minute, but we're going to talk a little bit more about what he's found on the Soaker Made Coffee and some details about it. It's a little questionnaire, some finance info, and he submitted a fundraising application to fundraising, which is Beth Kroger, because she's in the grants fundraising committee. So she's reviewing that to give him feedback, and then we'll push that forward to the board. So Herb, if you want to come on up and tell us a little bit more, it'd be awesome.
Okay. I'm going to make a couple of comments and then you're going to go to work. First comment is this coffee we're talking about is excellent coffee, graded by as excellent by the cuppers in Colombia, and Colombian coffee is big business. The quality comes out cupped as an 85. This is the coffee that we sold. We sold, what's it, 5 years ago from Panama. It cups at 85. It costs $15 for 12 ounces at Whole Foods. Or that comes out to $20 plus tax for a pound. This is the best coffee you can get at Safely. At our house, this lasts till noon. This lasts for 2 days. I'm proud of it. This is from Ethiopia, which is the center. This is where coffee began. Okay, so the coffee you're talking about is good coffee. It's excellent coffee. Item number one. So what I am proposing, and this is up to the club to determine what they want to do, what to sell it for. Our budgets, our costs are on this sheet. And so we are purchasing the coffee, green beans for $400, and that's 110 pounds, 50 kilograms. Supposed to arrive this week at my doorstep. Believe it when I see it. Shipping costs are $370 for 110 pounds. So obviously, when you roast it, you lose 10 to 20% because it dries out. So the 110 pounds, let's say roasted, it's 100 pounds, a little less maybe. So that's $4 a pound. I can divide by 100. Roasting is going to cost, shipping is going to cost us $3.78. Roasting, Jerry says, I'm going to help him roast on Monday. Come up, he comes and shows. $1.85 a pound.
And the wind
There's
started.
the wind, right.
And bags and stickers, that depends how many stickers you want on the bag, and we'll decide that today. So it's about $1.33. So that comes out to just under $11 per pound. If we sell it for $10 for 12 ounces, that's $13.33 a pound. We make a few bucks. But this is more trying to see if the system works, to see if this is something we want to do, and to benefit the community in Silverman, which is doing really, really well.
Well, I
Yes, sir.
thought, if I was gonna take this and sell it to all my customers for peaches, and I thought about this, and I said, how many of them have coffee grinder bean grinders? Not many, but they would probably be somewhat more resistant to whole beans than they would be ground coffee. So I'm wondering, what would the extra cost be to package some ground coffee? That's just a question. Just a wonder.
I grind beans every morning at 6 o'clock.
Just an experiment, we're just thinking.
Sure,
about it.
we can grind it, it's no cost.
Yeah.
If people really want ground beans,
Well, I think if
We
we're
can do
gonna
that.
sell it, that was my thought, it would sell easier as ground coffee because not everybody is a coffee fanatic.
Or connoisseur.
Connoisseur, wrong word.
also green beans will last about a year. So once we roast them, then they say that you should consume it within a month. But if you grind it, of course, it loses flavor from the minute you grind it.
So I was
So
gonna
that's
say
why
maybe
people use whole beans.
When we sold coffee before, were they whole beans?
Yes.
Yes, I think that this is such a small quantity, I think that, we should figure it out with this batch, and then we can always move forward if we do a bigger batch with ground and whole beans.
This is really,
100 pounds is not- No, it's not.
the 110 pounds is not a lot. I mean, how many peaches did you sell, Bob?
No, probably $20.
So
So
everybody
about
sold
20.
20 pounds of.
If I email that to them, how many people are gonna buy coffee if it's ground? And I thought,
This is
Christmas
good content.
presents,
They-
with Christmas presents, with your presentation, this is what your peach money bought. I said, enjoy some of this for $10, and it'd make a great gift, that you could sell 20 bags.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna consume 10.
But Mary Beth has a good point. We're starting out small.
Okay.
No, and I think it's a repeatable thing too, that if the shipping and everything works out, then 100 pounds, we can repeat more often. And
Right now, online, this coffee, they'll ship it to you for $40 a pound.
Whoa.
yeah, but that's a single pound. I mean, if we're talking 110 or 100 or 220, 2 kilos, at some point we're up in the game here. Then you can start to offer the ground or do a portion of the beans ground.
Okay.
And I think that with the, any marketing that you do, you need to just make sure that whole bean coffee is part of, in big letters, so people understand that they have the whole bean. So that if they don't have it right, they can't.
If they want, also, they can go to any grocery store and grind it themselves.
Yeah.
And since they're already roasted, you could just cover them with a nice chocolate ganache.
Eat it that way.
Roasted.
So Herb, did you want to talk a little bit about the bag label questions you
I
had?
want to talk about the bags.
Awesome.
Okay. I've got the choices here, different color bags.
I think they're beautiful.
Oh, they're beautiful.
So there isn't a blue and gold bag?
Oh.
Oh, picky.
I'm just-
Oh.
I like pretty.
So, I gotta order one color.
Oh,
I vote white, but we're gonna go through these, so, who wants gold?
Well, gold would be, you know, rotary color.
And then you have a blue sticker, it's just, then your rotary
Oh.
color.
I think I
But
want
the white lends itself to any color sticker.
Right,
And if you do a 3-color sticker or a 2-color sticker, white is,
I
okay,
think I'll go.
how many want gold?
Gold is holiday.
1, 2, 3,
Festive.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
On
How many want
mine,
white?
on mine, anyone want gold?
1, 2, 3.
Joanne wanted gold.
Gold wins it.
By a landslide.
Okay. Stickers. This is, so you just get a stick, this is a sticker, by the way, they just stuck it on there and we could put a sticker on front and on back. We could put one on the front that says from the Sokamay Women's Co-op.
Oh, that's nice.
We could put one on the back that says brought to you by, Rotary. Boulder Flatirons Rotary
I think that's perfect.
Can we show the people on the camera real quick? Grab that
Sorry.
from you. No worries.
I think especially if we're not raising a lot of money, if this is more about getting it out in the community, we should really focus on social. Because that's the reason we're doing this, just to help that community.
Kristen put together some quick stickers. This is 2 versions of this one that just says Sierra Nevada established 2021 Sokamay Women's Cooperative, Sokamay, Columbia. This one is spelled correctly. This one is not spelled correctly. This is another option.
Can we show the people?
What's the,
Oh, sorry.
what's the blue one say?
The blue one says Sokamay Women's Co-op, Sierra Nevada, Columbia.
I'll have to
Could
bring
you
it a
hold
bit
that one
closer.
over the white one side by side?
Yeah, one moment. Let's make sure that folks online get a chance to see as well. There are these 2. And then there's the one that's white with dark text on it. And then
Where's the camera? There we
I
go.
like the blue. It's right on the ocean, it's mountains and the ocean.
Yeah,
you'll get a chance to see that.
The blue is
Okay,
good with the gold.
so
Yeah.
one, no, hold on.
on.
Oh, please vote, 1, 2, or 3.
One.
2, 3.
Or one it is.
One it is.
Golden one.
And then you go correctly.
So I have a question.
Please, Ann.
I presented some ideas to her, but he's not presenting any of them. And I'm just wondering why, but
Wait, well,
So we thought, so what Ann and I have been talking, and she, I don't think, so I'm presenting this as high quality coffee, which is way it cupped out. We could present this as coffee that would be of interest to a larger audience, but it would be a lower, it would be more, I don't know what you would say.
commodity, is that?
More, higher commodity, maybe greater interest.
Okay.
So one of the bags, for example, that could be done would be brightly colored bags. And we could do brightly colored stickers. And then the audience, I think, for that would be higher. I mean, they'd say, wow, that's pretty neat. But we come into a conflict, in my opinion, between these 2 bags.
And this is
Can you
just an experiment.
They're on the other camera there, but I'll show it. Here you go.
Oh,
There, now you're on this one. I just moved you.
It's just a few of us, it's just-
So,
So-
Ann, can you explain, like, I think we heard your idea from Herb. Is that what you were trying to look for, an option that was coffee that we could,
I
wider
honestly, this in the industry is like loving hands at home kind of mentality. I'm sorry. but this is not a sustainable idea. It's great if you're going to just, do it, for our club members. But I think when you put all the numbers together, that it's not going to be commercial. And so if it isn't a fundraiser, fine. But I mean, I still don't know what the cost of, when you put everything together, the printing the bag, and you're offering a gold bag, which I don't even know, are you getting that through Amazon or
Yes.
where? But, okay. So,
And Herb has those numbers. I know that they're here, but he already submitted them to Beth. And that was part of that fundraiser submission packet that we have for the
Well,
club.
I'd like
the
to see-
board soon.
okay.
It will
I'd
come
like
to you. Beth has to give her feedback on that before the club vets it. And that would go to the board. But I think that what Herb had proposed here was this was a test bed to test all these pieces for a coffee fundraiser. We're doing it.
It doesn't test everything. It does not test everything. But all right, I don't want to get into it.
Well, let's
but-
keep working on that. Let's keep working on
Well,
that.
I think it's a fabulous idea, but you have to, I mean, Herb sent me some information about, the value of the coffee and all the information. Unless you market it and sell it, it's just another coffee. So it's you're trying to do this too quickly, and it's a fabulous idea, but you can't just go into it like this. Sorry, but that's my opinion. Whatever.
No, no, Ann is right. If we do it as a fundraiser.
Yeah.
That's correct. And we would sell a lot more in a different environment. One thing that we are stuck with is shipping costs. If we did this as a fundraiser, we would go by ship, as you suggested, and our shipping costs would be 10% of what they are now. This is coming by air from Columbia to Colorado.
And so right now you're testing the connection you have with getting the beans, roasting. It doesn't do your ship freight, but obviously that would take forever right now.
Right.
So I think that this is something I think it's worth us going through the process of ironing out these elements. And maybe we start in 4 or 5 months and we start working on it again for, next November. And then we have that marketing plan in place by then. Does that make sense? Because we'll still make some money on this.
Yeah, that
It
makes
just
sense.
won't be as much. It does? Okay. Well, I really appreciate that input, Ann, because I know that you have a lot more experience with this than probably any of us in here do.
Certainly.
Well, I have no experience with coffee, but I do have experience with freight forwarders and shipping things by boat as opposed to by plane. It just requires planning and marketing, and it's not just a matter of getting the beans
That's right.
into the States. So we understand that. I just I would like to see it work, and I just would like to see it work. So take some thought.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
On the back of the bag, we can put something else. I thought we should get more people oriented, or something that's people oriented, and also something that is Rotary oriented. So we could do something like this, and we got some people things here. Jake, can I borrow you a minute again?
Yeah, for the.
So here's one.
Yeah, I love that.
Here's two. Again, Kristen did this quickly. This one you gotta check out though. It's called Meditating with Mosquitoes. Notice the bare feet.
That's great.
This is, it rains every afternoon. And it's miserable.
I think that's a little too personal.
So we'll come up with a fun
Yeah.
design that's in the back
And
with the
this is just
connection.
some of the women who sort of make their kids. So if you want to hold up two, I'll hold up two, and you get to vote on which ones you want.
All right.
Or something, the concept.
Yeah.
We're talking concepts. 1, 2, 3, or 4.
The concept of text under photo, text on photo, something funny, something? Oh, this would be her. Is this the classy one? I don't know.
Oh, that's just,
We'll call it classy.
yeah,
Okay.
What
women
is
of
the
Soaker.
picture of your right hand?
This one?
Yes,
You mean who's in it?
yes.
So this is on our way to Soakerme at about 4 o'clock in the morning. And that's Kristen and I. This one is Roberto, who's organizing everything there. And then these two are men of the community that were helping us. And this is a guy who is not yet a man, and so he doesn't get his hat.
Oh,
That's a cool one.
So
Because that incorporates Rotary with subdivision.
all right, we're voting on number 1, 2, 3, or 4. Is anyone interested in the first option, the tech center photo?
It's a clearer picture. Easier to see.
And then,
It'll be much smaller, of course, by the
You
time
can
we get
Photoshop in a cup of coffee.
all right, text on photo.
Number 2,
Do we have any online for text on photo? That's the, okay. Number 3 is the one with the mosquito. Anyone prefer that one on the back of the coffee? Herb does, all right. And then the last one being the one that's showing the woman and child. I think it's bricks behind, and then woman coffee cooperative on the
That is a
text.
web address for ordering.
I think I like that one the most, me, but
well, the one in your left hand mentions coffee. It shows a woman from Sobrome with a baby.
and it says woman's coffee cooperative on it. Yep, which I like that.
I vote for that one.
So we got 3. We got Joanne on that one too. We got 3 on this.
Elements of all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. One happy just package. Would you like to do that, Joe? I'll Photoshop in the coffee.
Okay, so I guess we'll try to work something up with this. And then something with the club, and then something with this one.
Yeah.
For the sticker for the club.
Talking 2 stickers front and back of the bag, right?
That's right.
Okay,
Now I need you to sign up how many bags of coffee you want.
put it out for 10.
And I assume we're $10 for 12 ounces.
It's a bargain.
Okay.
So if we got enough response, we would get more than 1 bag.
All right, I've got a pen here too, Herb, so we'll just pass these around.
But we're not talking
Start
about
with you
just
guys,
one-
Jason.
100.
Pass around the room for people who might want to put in a pre-order.
We will roast on Monday
Oh,
Yeah.
if the beans show up.
if the beans show up.
Yeah. And if,
And we will pack, and so I will deliver, if somebody wants to help pack bags, we can do that.
I think you had a few people who were interested in doing
Maybe
that.
deliver a little bit, we could probably get a couple of bags out by Christmas.
How long would it take to get the pictures or the stickers?
One day.
Oh, really? Wow.
That's being done at Office Depot. And the manager of the photo department is involved in this and he wants to do it.
Cool. So if we have more demand than the number of 12-ounce bags we can produce, are we going to switch them to 10-ounce bags and cut the price by 10%? No, not really. You guys want coffee? We can increase the supply, just watering it down. Herb, thank you so much for doing all
This is
this.
special, it's,
Yeah.
it's a special community and they're really good.
And again, Herb had submitted the fundraising request. It's into Beth, and she'll be reviewing that, giving any feedback, and then proposing that to the board to get approval. But Herb wanted to get on this and make sure that we would have these coffee beans before the end of the year. So that'll help us wake up January 1st, right?
I think that, since we lost the citrus, having a second fundraiser, and this is just a dip of our toes into the process, I think that this is an experiment.
Totally.
And we'll see whether it's gonna move forward or not.
Sure.
So if we can move forward, then I think that, certainly Ann has more suggestions, we can talk about that. But this first attempt at it is just pretty much for the club.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the club has to keep its fingers in that village, because we've done so
Yeah.
much for that village. They went a bad way, this, and now they're selling.
And they're doing so well.
This is our support of them on and on
Thank you, Herb.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Rejoin the club.
So while you guys are doing that, we're gonna keep moving forward. Appreciate all the input and all the help. And Herb, again, thank you so much for doing this. I have a few announcements. So I know a lot of y'all were at the party yesterday. So I'm sorry, we're running out of time. But thank you again, Kim. Really appreciate it. Yeah, sorry I wasn't able to make it, but very much appreciate it.
And I had a very bad dog. We put it to timeout because she would not stop barking and
Oh,
talking.
goodness.
She's the best dog. She doesn't do that. I don't know.
Well, there was another dog there.
Wow.
Yeah, gotta be careful on your invitation list.
All right, so for volunteering, we have a lot of opportunities coming up. This one is the share a gift, opportunities for unloading gifts and loading gifts, and we've got a lot of times, including I believe today, right, Joanne? We've got that 2 to 4 time. Yeah. So lots of time slots here, and if you are interested in doing this, I think that right now, Joanne, are you able to, help?
Yes, someone should contact me if they're at all interested. Thank you.
Wonderful, because the email went out, but I think that, yeah, if you could reach out to Joanne, these are the times that are available. Say that again.
Where do we go?
Each one has different locations and whatnot, and it just.
No. They're all at the IBM site, the old IBM site. Kyndryl is its name now.
Okay, cool. But they're for different things, different types of loading, unloading, from vehicles onto trucks, off of trucks, organizing things, moving things around. So some of the all-day stuff will be like that, and then there's some like final put away stuff. So if y'all are available, this would be really helpful for our efforts, supporting Share a Gift each year. Also wanted to throw up the Salvation Army bell ringing. So that's gonna be at Safeway, and there are a couple shifts available. We've got a 10 to 12, a 4 to 6, and a 6 to 7 is what I had. So we could take up to 2 people for each of those shifts.
I think the date is wrong, so I think.
Oh, is it? Yeah, that would be in
It's
the
this Saturday.
past. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be
It's this
upcoming.
Saturday, and
Great.
John and your sister are gonna do one of the shifts. Thank you,
Wonderful.
sir.
Great.
Ann will sign them up. They need to call Ann.
Okay,
So Paulette and her dog, God bless them, are
Yeah.
doing.
they're doing 12 to 2, yeah.
And Rich, Mary Beth and I are doing 2 to 4.
Yep,
But it really is important this year. There's so many needs.
wonderful. Yeah, so this Saturday is gonna be a big volunteering day for folks this year. We've got a lot going on. So please put this down and reach out to Ann if you're gonna be able to do bell ringing, okay?
And 5 of us are doing this today. We're doing it at Meals on Wheels.
Okay.
Packing and stuff.
Awesome.
So there's lots, people say there's not enough opportunity. We have a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
So,
So just a reminder, January 1st is the deadline for nominating person for Spark Plug Award. We've got 2 nominations at this point. It's for up to $2,000 when you do your nomination. The form is on our website. So please go ahead and do that. And non-members can nominate someone. Quick reminder to the district, Rotary license plate petition is elapsing very soon. We have just a few hundred more petition signees for the state to create the Rotary license plate. So if you've got Colorado resident friends that don't care if they put their name on something, you might entice them. I don't know. But other than that, just to let you know. And then the district is starting up some tornado relief disaster response efforts. So I figure I'd let you know about that because you might get emails regarding what they're working on, okay? All right, Happy Bucks. We're gonna go faster than usual today, I believe, but I'll start us off with Happy Bucks. So one Happy Buck, one sad buck. So Happy Buck, first one, why I wasn't available on Sundays, because Lexi was going through procedure with anesthesia. So we were laying low and just getting her back to normal. And then of course she traveled the next day to California because that's how she is. So that all went well. And then unfortunately, a Rotarian that I was pretty close to in California in the same club as Alon was recently murdered in Baltimore by her ex-boyfriend, and she was pregnant, and he didn't went and killed
I can
his
go in the
wife.
other room, check my emails too. If we had to close the shades again, it feels like it's dark out there.
Oh
yawning.
my.
Who is?
Anne.
There we go. Yeah, so it was really sad. So they're doing a lot of memorial work for her this week, but she was just back from finishing her doctorate of nurse practitioner and went on a world tour and got back, and the next day he came and killed her. So it's very, very sad. Yeah, it's really horrible.
Oh. Yeah, this is just for, thanks for the people I'm so grateful, helping us out on this. The first quote I got for price, not the first, so second to last quote I got for prices was 3 times this quote.
I'm gonna do a 5. This is for Sheridan. A couple of things. Leslie's in the Humane Society brochure, so we can pass that around. Very official. I want to thank everybody for the delicious food. I mean, we just really, it was good food. Also, I want to say that my son-in-law, Hari, who's Indian, is in India right now, praying to get home. His grandma died a year ago, and they have a ceremony a year later. But his dad has been in the hospital with dengue fever from mosquitoes. So he's out of the hospital now, but we're just praying all is well. Wonderful, what we love these people. And then the other one I was sharing with everybody is a picture of my daughter with Dolly Waddle. Those are all stuff, but she met her husband in India, and that was about 18 years ago. So anyway, thank you all for your help with the conversation. We had fun, not a dog, but we had fun.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, get that dog straightened out. I'm not coming
She's
back.
really, really good. I mean, they're jealous of me. I don't know.
Just Merry Christmas, everybody.
I just want to say thank you to Kim for having the party. It was so nice to socialize with the club members.
First of all, just a sad about thinking about the people in Kentucky and the general area and what they're going through right now. And then the second one, again, Kim, thank you. And I wish all of you peaceful holiday season in the next couple of weeks.
And this is for Kim. Thank you for a wonderful party and good food. Remember, your dog nose is what got him in trouble. He smelled all that good food and you locked him away.
That's true. Well, you're else.
Well, thank you all so much. Oh, John, you got one of us.
I just want to say thanks for inviting me to be a part of this chapter and stuff. And also, my big happy buck is my youngest daughter graduated from college this week. So,
Does anyone online have any happy bucks to share today? All right, hearing none, we will move forward. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh, you gotta move there. So, just to kick us off with the introduction here, we've got a guest speaker, and I think Leslie's going to do her introduction.
So Jay is getting her presentation kind of organized. So I want to introduce my co-worker, Allison Hartlage. Originally from Kentucky, Allison graduated from the University of Georgia and shortly after relocated to Oregon. She began volunteering with the Oregon Humane Society and in 2008 attended the San Francisco SPCA Academy for Dog Trainers, where she received her certificate as a canine trainer and behavior counselor, graduating with honors. She then returned to Portland and spent 3 years working with companion animals in a private daycare and training business before relocating to Boulder in 2011. Allison is committed to the ongoing pursuit of learning opportunities. She is a certified nose work instructor, a graduate of the Karen Pryor Academy, Susan Friedman's Living and Learning at Animals course, and holds her certified behavior consultant in canine. She shares her home with her 2 young daughters, husband, and an adopted Labrador mix named Gracie. So,
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm going to stand over with the.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Okay. Great. Yep. And you just cut me off. This presentation, I think, is longer than a half an hour. So I have a stopping point that I think half an hour is what you wanted, correct? Okay.
So let's hit your forward arrows here.
Okay. I have a stopping point that I think will work for us, but if you need to cut me off sooner, definitely let me know. So I manage the Training and Behavior Center here at the Humane Society, as Leslie said. And our services include comprehensive classes for our community for fearful dogs, dogs who are reactive toward other dogs, puppies so that they can build appropriate skills, manner skills for middle-aged dogs, elderly dogs, nose work classes. We also have one-on-one consultations, anything from I want my dog to come back to me when I call them to they're fussy with other dogs. Can you help me work through that? We also handle all the court-ordered consultations for Boulder, as well as Louisville, Longmont, Lafayette, and surrounding counties. Those are when people have been ticketed for an aggressive animal or a dog at large. We also operate a comprehensive shelter behavior modification program. So for animals that are within our shelter who are technically homeless and experiencing behavior challenges, we work with them twice a day to help them create different behavioral patterns so that they have a chance of being adopted in a loving home and go on to have successful relationships. That's my favorite part of the job, I have to say. We have a puppy club program, which is for dogs up to the age of 18 weeks for comprehensive socialization. So they get dropped off and they're with 2 trainers up to 6 dogs, where they're working on skills with comfort around other dogs, comfort with children, comfort with wheelchairs and skateboards and bicycles, so that as they age, they don't experience problems with those things. Workshops. So we have topic-based workshops mostly on behavior challenges like fear, aggression, anxiety, so that people in our community who are experiencing those issues with their pets can hear workshops on those topics. And then presentations like this one. Today, I'm just going to talk a little bit about how behavior change works. This is all really credited to a PhD out of Utah by her name is Dr. Susan Friedman. She's been a major mentor of mine. Most of the information that I'm going to provide is influenced by her, but if anything that I get is wrong, it's all on me, not her. So this applies to people as well. She got her start working with people. And so when we look at impacting behavior change with animals, ourselves included, we try to, at the Humane Society, really stay in these bottom 3. So I work really closely with Leslie and her team to make sure that there's nothing that's contributing to behavior issues that might be a medical cause, making sure that their nutrition is adequate and that the physical setting is set up for them to be comfortable. We're really focusing a lot here at HSCD on these antecedent arrangements, which I'm going to jump to in the next slide. So this is setting up the environment in order for the animal to be successful, or the child or the adult in order to be successful. And then positive reinforcement, which I'm going to explain in just one second. These next 3, we really try to exercise caution with. And though positive punishment does happen unintentionally, it's not something that we would ever employ intentionally. So what that means is that we use something called ABCs. So we have an antecedent, a behavior, and a consequence. The antecedent is what happens immediately before the consequence that kind of tees it up. The behavior is the action, so it's not a label, it's like barking, right? Or running, or jumping, or sitting, so it's the action item. And then the consequence, I think, is the most interesting one, because a lot of times we think that when we apply something to dog training, for example, that we get to determine what the animal finds reinforcing. So in other words, if I scratch the dog, I get to determine whether or not that animal is going to like that. But that's not accurate. So what we do is we look back at the behavior and we say, is that behavior going up or down in occurrence or frequency? If that behavior is going up, then we assume that that animal or learner finds that consequence to be reinforcing. If that behavior goes down, we assume that animal or learner finds that consequence to be punishing. Is that making sense? So we really have to look at the behavior. Like I would never, but like yell at a dog, right? And then I see, wow, this behavior is going up. That animal is telling me yelling is reinforcing for this dog. Like a good example of this would be a dog jumps up onto you and you say, knock it off, get off of me, right? And we see that jumping continue to go up and go up and go up. That animal's getting reinforced by that attention, even though we're saying that attention is negative or punishing, if that makes sense, right? So this is helpful for us when we're trying to figure out, why is this behavior persisting? Why does this animal keep doing this? Sometimes we want the animal to keep doing it, and sometimes we definitely don't, right? And so we have to look at what's coming after that to influence whether that behavior is going up or down, right? And then we have a lot of control over the antecedents, and it's something we work really hard on in the shelter, but it's something with you, those of you who have pets at home, that I would really look at asking you to consider. Like, is there a way that we can change the environment in order to make it easier for your cat or dog or child or partner to get it right? I'll just give you a really basic example with my husband. So we have 2 young kids. I work full-time, he works out of the house, he also works full-time, but I come home later, and I would come home, there was never dinner, right? Never dinner. And I was like, gosh, this is really frustrating. It's not working. The kids are hungry. I'm walking into a disaster. And I was like, I wonder what would happen if I ordered one of those meal kits, like one of the ones that comes with the instructions. He makes dinner every single night, right? So like, I just had to change. It just wasn't working for him to have to figure out how to open up the fridge and come up with a whole meal or get out a recipe book and order it all, right? But if I could make it easy, it just eliminates that conflict between the 2 of us just by changing the setup of the environment. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so the other thing that I just really encourage people to consider is just having empathy for animals and children and partners, learners in our life, particularly with animals. So especially in a shelter setting, but oftentimes in our home as well, they have limited choices and lack of control. It's now been proven that control is a primary reinforcer, meaning no learning needs to occur in order for control to be reinforcing. So we don't have to do any work. So giving animals just a choice, which way do you want to walk, right? Often our animals are behind fences, they're on leashes, they're behind windows, like especially in a shelter setting. Leslie and I deal with this all the time, right? You're in a kennel and you're backing away and you're saying, I'm afraid of you, I'm afraid of you, I'm afraid of you, right? But you back against a wall and I keep coming at you, that animal maybe then snarls or barks at me. Whose fault is that? I'm not sure, right? Like, is that my fault or is that their fault? It doesn't matter, but they said, I'm trying to make a choice that's not working for me. I need distance from you. I can't get it. And so I'm gonna use other behaviors in order to accomplish that same goal. So really looking at, like, when our animals, children, grandchildren, whatever, are experiencing challenges, like what's happening in the environment that might be causing them to get there a little bit quicker. The other thing is animals in our care often have no learning history in our shelter, meaning they don't have any reason to trust us. Like, I can say I'm a really nice person, I would never hurt an animal. They don't know that. These are their first experiences with me, right? I think trust is really defined as these kind of micro moments where I'm making you safe, or I'm giving you things that are that you find reinforcing. I'm respecting your decision to back away from me and not follow you. So when we bring these animals into our homes, we can't, just because we believe we're a good person, we're nice, we're going to be gentle and kind to these animals, and unless we have this history that proves that to them. And poor Leslie really has a hard time with this in the veterinary setting, right? Like, a lot of things that happen there are not friendly, and she can't be respectful of all of the things that they're asking for. And but really trying to build up that bank of positive experiences. So when we do have negative experiences, or when things are less than ideal, the animal is a little more forgiving, if that makes sense, or partner or child or grandchild. We know stress hormones take a long time to dissipate, so it can take a full 48 hours from a stressful experience for an animal to kind of decompress and get back to baseline. And we get trigger stacking, meaning something that wouldn't have bothered an animal. So think about this, right? Sometimes we'll say with our animals or our partners, man, like, you really kind of exploded about that. And it didn't really seem like it was that big of a deal, but asking yourself, what else happened today, right? So for me, my example is, I'm driving in a car, I've had a lovely morning, leisurely with my kids, I did everything I wanted to do, got out for a walk, whatever. Someone cuts me off in traffic, I might say, like, that was rude, right? Conversely, I have a really bad day, someone cuts me off in traffic, and I'm a little quicker to be a little more vocal about my thoughts about that person cutting me off, right? So thinking about, like, maybe it's not about that single event that's causing someone or some animal to kind of lose it, but all the things that maybe kind of led up to that in a day. So again, we kind of already talked about this, but these are some common motivators for animals. So high value treats, chicken, cheese, hot dogs, those types of things, toys, play, gentle social contact, animal relationships. So a lot of times with fearful animals here at the shelter, we can use a confident animal to kind of help them learn the ropes, but remembering that it's not, like if I've had, I really enjoy beer, but if I've had 2 beers, a third beer might not be motivating for me, right? Or a third cup of coffee, or a piece of chocolate, or even my favorite meal is a burrito. If I just ate a burrito and you offer me another one, I'm not interested. If you offer me a brownie, okay, maybe I can squeeze that in, right? So kind of thinking about, just because this is something that an animal or a partner typically enjoys, like think about it under the conditions of today and how that might be helpful in terms of getting more or less behavior that you want. To set our animals up for success, we want to rule out any complicating medical causes, right? So an animal that's displaying aggression when you maybe touch them, it could be that they're uncomfortable with you touching them. It could also be that they're in incredible amount of pain, right? So making sure there's no medical causes for any of the behavior, discontinuing any aversive training, which I'm going to get to, and then meeting the dog where they are. So recognizing us all as individuals and helping meet them there. So what I really want to spend a little time on today is just a little bit of awareness around body language. So we're going to go really quickly through cats and dogs. So when an animal is uncomfortable, it can look like turning their head away, averting gaze, shifting their weight typically away from you. If they're feeling really fearful, maybe shifting toward you. If they're feeling like there might be a little bit more of a confrontation between the two of you. Lip licking, so this is not related to like when they lick their chops or being hungry. This is typically like kind of a straight out and then back in. Raising one paw and kind of holding it uncomfortably. Choosing to move away. Physically trembling, so like body trembling. Tucking their tail. Big yawn that's out of context, so not they've just woken up, but often this yawn is kind of like hyperextended and you might get a little shaking with it. Panting, so when it's not hot, and then refusing treats. So an animal who otherwise really enjoys food, refusing that food. So when we're seeing those signs, it's the beginning of us maybe starting to feel a little uncomfortable in our belly, or starting to sweat, or crossing our arms, just beginning to kind of close off a little bit from whatever experience we're having and saying, I'm not super comfortable. So we want to notice when our animals are feeling that way and then kind of scan the environment and say, okay, what might be going on, right? There's a lot of people in the house today, or the wind is blowing, or the tornado sirens are going off, or whatever the case might be. Escalating from there, we would get a lip lift. I think you all probably know what this looks like, right? Like that full lip exposing the teeth. Grappling, lunging, snarling, fleeing, urinating, defecating, snapping, biting. We might get all of those. We might get some of them. They might hold them for long periods of time or go quickly through them. All to say, often when a dog resorts to biting, there were so many other signs earlier that they were uncomfortable, and we missed those and kind of kept chugging along, right? So we want to try to notice when an animal is uncomfortable at a lower level and make different choices in our behavior. So here's kind of some of the, let me look at these. So these are some of the things we might see when an animal is feeling uncomfortable. There is that big old yawn that I was talking about. Okay, I don't think my videos are gonna work. I tried them in my office earlier. Oh, okay, so here's a dog in the shelter. We're just gonna watch this quickly for those signs that I was just describing. Lip lick, did you see that? Backing away, lowered body. Refusing food, staying away. Mouth closed. Like nothing in that dog looks loose or excited about social contact. So you can see, or you can hypothesize about what might happen if you cornered that dog in the kennel. right? So your antecedent is the person approaching the kennel. The behavior is backing away or growling or whatever else we can't hear. And the consequence is either I stay where I am, I move away, or I get closer. So for that animal, if he wants me to move away, think about what might happen if he growls at me and then the consequence is I go in. Then I wouldn't be surprised if when I go in, he escalates to snapping or some other additional form of aggression, right? Because his behavior did not influence the consequence in the way that he intended. I did not move away from him and give him the space that he needed. So he's going to try a different behavior. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so this is just like my personal soapbox. These two animals are maybe having the same internal experience. So we find this fairly to be a lot more dangerous than this, but both of these animals might be really suffering internally, right? And it's not our, we can't say which one of these is in a healthier or more receptive to training place. Okay, we're just gonna watch the beginning of this. So this is something I think we can all try with our animals, but any unknown animals as well. So just letting an animal make the choice as to whether they want to continue to engage socially with you. So what you're gonna see here is inviting the dog over for petting rather than going to them. If they come over, petting them for about 3 seconds and then stopping. If they walk away or disengage, they don't want to anymore. Right? And if they stay with you or they kind of nudge you or encourage you to keep going, then they're consenting to the interaction between the two of you. So we'll just watch maybe just a second of this. This is like an 8-minute video. If you're interested or you have grandchildren, I think this is a really wonderful video by Dog Kind. Okay, so she invited, the dog came right over. She's gonna pet for 3 or 4 seconds. She's gonna stop. Did you see that dog say, yep, keep going? Like bouncing to her. So here, not even coming, right? Doesn't want to. So she says, okay, you don't have to. Avoidant. So she stops. Avoidant. Okay. Just for time's sake, we'll skip, you kind of get the idea there, just giving that, like, instead of just rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, right, like giving the animal an opportunity for you to back off and have them opt in or opt out of that interaction. Are there any cat guardians in here? Does anyone have cats at home? Okay, great. So for cats, they have more weapons than dogs. So those claws can be really tricky, right? So making sure that we're respecting body language. So when a cat's uncomfortable, we're gonna see flattened ears, kind of that twitching or thrashing tail. I don't know if you've ever seen that before. Really dilated pupils, tightly shut eyes. They can kind of they can go on that spectrum of either kind of shutting down or becoming reactive. Head pressing, which is where they kind of press their head against something really tightly, facing away from you, moving away from you. And then if we ignore those, we might see an escalation to hissing, spitting, swatting. Again, I think I'm just encouraging us all to realize that often when we escalate to these types of behaviors, we played a role in that, right? Okay, so here's that same drawing just with cats. I really wanted to play this video for you, but I need sound. Is there a way to get?
They can hear it. It would come out of the TV, I think, and might be on this remote.
Okay, that would be great. This is by Dr. Susan Friedman, who I was telling you about. This is the last slide.
Give it a try.
She doesn't talk at the beginning. So
trust. A trusting relationship is an essential element of teaching and learning. Think of it this way. A learner's trust is like money in a bank account. You can make deposits into the trust account and also withdraw from it. When the withdrawal exceeds the balance, the relationship goes bankrupt. It's very hard to teach well when you have a bankrupt relationship. Every interaction with a learner that results in positive reinforcement puts a deposit into the trust account. Some simple examples of positive reinforcers are praise, touch, and treats, but reinforcers are very individual. Other interactions withdraw trust from the account. Withdrawals of trust happen when we use less compassionate teaching practices, such as punishment, force, and threats. Try and make your interactions positive to keep your trust account in the black. Once a trust account is overdrawn, it's hard to rebuild a positive balance. That's what great relationships are all about, big trust accounts.
I know that's a lot of information very quickly, but I appreciate your patience with that. Do you have any questions?
They say dogs have owners, cats have staff.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like cats are just a little harder for us to read, a little harder for us to figure out motivation. But I mean, they're all unique individuals. We, until last year, lived with 3 cats. They all aged and passed away, unfortunately, but they were so their own cats, right? So I think it's really taking that time to get to know them and what motivates them. And, you know, is it scratching? Is it rubbing against you? Is it tuna treats? Is it, you know, grabbing something? So, but yeah, I think cats generally are a little bit more independent. Yeah.
Are they abused and neglected?
Yeah, I mean,
Dogs, I imagine that.
Takes tons of patience and time.
Yeah, it's so tricky sometimes for us to tell that critical window for socialization that I was talking about where we serve the puppy club. So making sure that puppies have experiences prior to about 12 to 16 weeks with a lot of novelty. And for kittens, it actually ends at 7 weeks. So if you're not exposed to other animals, people, noises prior to that age, it can be really difficult for them to be comfortable with those things as they mature. So sometimes it's really difficult for us to tell, do you have a lacking socialization history or did poor things happen to you? But you're right, in either of those cases, it takes a lot to build that relationship. But I'll say, I actually think that population of animals is probably what my team is best at. And I feel really grateful. We also use, with Leslie's help, some pharmaceuticals to help those animals in the short term so that they just have a little bit less stress and more comfort while we try to work through that. Yeah. Anything else?
We had a dog, all of our dogs have been rescued. And she'd been totally abused. She's a little Contra Lhasa by a man in cowboy boots.
Oh.
She would go nuts. See, they kicked her around horrible. And she was left outside 24/7 in Colorado.
Oof, that's unfortunate.
So it took her a while.
Yeah, well, she was lucky to end up with you, right? Like, it's so nice when.
But it's so sad.
It is.
You know what they've been through, and you don't know when you adopt them, right?
No.
So it does take a while. It's good you do the training.
Yeah, I feel really lucky. It's a great organization. Yeah. Thank you so much. Sure.
Well, before I have you run off, we wanted to give you a token of our appreciation. And
appreciate that.
yeah, so just so you can remember us, and also we'll have
Leslie
this.
doesn't let us forget.
Okay.
Yeah, especially during the beaches.
But we'll also have the YouTube video of our communications communities up there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank you.
So with that said, I know that we had a question in mind, but it sounds like you can run off.
I might be able to answer it.
There you go. Leslie might be able to help with this. The question online was, what does a cat's nipping mean? If a cat's nipping.
Oh, they're trying to communicate, so it could be that they want more attention or it means stop. So it really, you have to really be in tune to what's going on. So they're, like Allison said, they're also individual in the way they communicate.
you have to be, you have to be in tune to it, so.
Awesome. Any other online questions? All right, none that I see so far. All right, well, with that said, thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your year. If we don't see you this week or this weekend in volunteering. Again, for Salvation Army, for bell ringing, please reach out to Ann. If you're gonna do share gift volunteering, please reach out to Joanne. Obviously, we have even more going on too with Meals on Wheels, so please fill your calendar, all your spare time with volunteering before the end of the year, and we'll see you in the beginning of the year, all right?
Thank you.
All right. Rotary.
Hey, wrap about.
Well, yes, that's